As influencers, after the show has aired, we both made over $500,000 each. My name is Deepti and Natalie. I am 32 years old.
And I'm Natalie Lee, and I'm 31 years old, and you may recognize us from Love is Blind Season 2. I really enjoyed my job. I still kept my job throughout filming Love is Blind and also after, and even while the show was coming out.
I also loved my job, and even though I quit that job, I can still use the things that I learned in technology in content creation today. Honestly, I did not tell my boss that I was gonna go film a reality TV show because I just don't think that would have gone over well.
You didn't?
No, I didn't tell them.
I didn't know that.
I was just like, I accumulated my PTO days and I was just like, hey, I'm gonna be taking a long vacation, and most of like the filming, the second half of it, I literally just worked throughout it. So I didn't have to tell them.
I was honest with my boss that I was doing a reality TV show. I didn't say it was Love is Blind because I feel like that would have been a whole other conversation about, you know, getting engaged, sight unseen, and things like that. We were able to work while filming Love is Blind, so that made it much easier and more like palatable for my boss to allow me to take the time off for the show. They were like, what are you doing? And they're like, you don't really seem like the type to do reality TV. And I was like, oh, it's like a serious marriage show. And then so they didn't know it was Love is Blind, and then it came out and they were like, you did this show on Netflix? Like, we thought it was like a documentary about
This is
about
why
love.
I didn't tell them. This is why I didn't tell them, because I'm not trying to have that conversation.
I won't lie, it did impact me professionally a lot. Like, I remember being in meetings with my coworkers and my clients, and they would like, you could tell they wanted to ask questions, and you know, I'd be doing a presentation or something, and they're like, so, how was it like in those pods?
Yeah.
I'm like, what? I thought we were talking about like this Excel sheet that I spend like 18 hours on.
While the show was airing, I realized like the impact that it had just on my life in general. And I really wanted to continue working, but I was realizing like kind of months into it that I wasn't able to do content creation and working full time and showing up at my 100% in both. So for me, just to give it my all into one career path, I had to pick a lane. And so I decided to take a risk and to quit my corporate job.
After Love is Blind aired and, you know, our social media following went up, I did see a huge shift when it came to my yearly salary. I am making, as a content creator, 3 times my corporate salary, and so it just made sense for me to pursue content creation full time. I would say 95% of my current income is from brand deals.
Me and my brand manager don't want to overwhelm like my social media, because you want to have a mix of like organic content and branded content. When you're representing a brand through your content, you want to make sure that it speaks to you. Sometimes it can be a very high deal, like almost a salary's worth, but other times it's very low, like only 2 to 3K. But those smaller brand deals mean more to you because you are using them in your everyday life.
When we saw the money that we could make from sponsorships and just from social media and putting content out there, that's when I started to think I could really go far with this. I won't share the brand, but the most I've gotten paid for a brand deal is around 50K. And that was pretty amazing. And I used the brand and the fact that they also allowed me the creativity to create content for them of authentically using it. I thought that was so cool.
The amount that I'm making now is exponentially higher than what I was before. I do invest a lot of it into stocks. I'm trying to educate myself more in the financial world and to figuring out how I can invest it. I want to be a homeowner soon, so even investing in property is a big deal for me, and also saving for my retirement.
Okay, here's how I save and invest my money. First, it goes into my 401k, I max that out, and then it goes into a backdoor Roth IRA, and then I will invest in broad index funds, so the S&P 500. And then I will
Can you tell she's from finance?
And then I will put a little bit into my high yield savings account or into money market, my money market account. And then, yeah, and then I have nothing for myself. Deepti and I are both daughters of immigrants, something that we've talked about often is like the money that we save is really for our family to kind of give back and what they put in on us. Like I know that sending me to college, but just like making sure that I got the best education growing up, that took a lot on my family. And to take me to violin lessons because they wanted me to have different skill sets. Like I know that that was a struggle for my family sometimes. And so for me, when I think about the money that I make as an influencer, it's not for me, it's for my family.
Absolutely, I second that. Like, my parents sacrificed so much and they left their entire family behind so that me and my siblings could have an amazing life here. And so this is just like a testament to their sacrifice.
It's really hard hearing their stories and how they grew up in the U.S. just facing a lot of racism, but also just how poor they were in the country because they didn't know English and their parents didn't know English. I remember my dad told me that having cereal was a luxury. Like it was kind of seen as dessert when he was growing up.
My parents immigrated from India. I was 8 years old when I moved to America, and it was the toughest transition ever. And I think I mentioned before, I was like extremely bullied. I couldn't even understand my teacher's English. Like it was like a hard dialect for me to pick up on. And so it was a hard transition.
I think it's really powerful, like coming from a family of immigrants and just kind of the different values and skill sets that you do learn, you know, just the skill sets of surviving in a country where you don't speak the language. And so it really helps you not take life for granted.
I think the podcast has really given us a platform and an opportunity to really connect with people on a broader scale. We took a conversation and we made it into an idea, and then everything kind of just came to fruition from there. We got the mics, we were like, let's just practice, let's just recap these episodes, and I think that really spearheaded us into such an amazing opportunity because now we have a platform to really speak our mind and also, you know, talk about a show that has spearheaded us into all these opportunities.
We edit, we produce the videos all on our own, and so it's been a huge learning opportunity and another opportunity for us to be entrepreneurs. We partnered with an agency, and right now we are in the works of signing with a podcast network. We would have never thought that our podcast could have gone this far, quite honestly. Hitting number 20 on Apple podcast charts and also number 10 on Spotify U.S. podcast charts. I mean, that's was
insane.
We did not realize how successful the podcast can be.
The show has really opened up a window of opportunities for me. I am a TEDx speaker, I'm an author. I feel like I have no idea what's gonna come in the future, and it is a little scary, but it's also extremely exciting. I have no idea how long this content creation or influencer life is going to last, but as long as I show up authentically, create good content for brands, I feel like I can keep it going. And if at any moment I can't, I literally will go back to training, get well-versed in technology again, because that's where my roots are.
I'm not an author, but I was mentioned in one page in Deepti's book. But for me, it is short term. I just can't see myself doing it forever and sharing my life. I'm a pretty private person. And quite honestly, I really liked being a management consultant. I liked being able to work with different people, work in different industries, work with different clients and learn from them. And you can't really do that as an influencer. So I really do kind of miss that world. I'm gonna take advantage of the money, strike when the iron's hot, obviously, but I think within the next few years, I could see myself going back into the corporate world. I'm sure someone's gonna watch this interview and talk about how I have a pimple right here and right here. And you know what? Am I allowed to swear?
Sure.
You!